I'm parked at the National Trust car park at Honister Slate Mine, just behind the youth hostel. It does say no overnight parking, so do so at your own risk. So this is England's last working slate mine. They've also got lots of activities you can do here, so there's like some dodgy rope climbing and stuff like that. And you can have tours around the mine. I'm heading over there somewhere. Got to get up to Dale Head first, which actually I think is back up there and over that ridge. I'm going to set the tracker going and I'll record the GPX file, so if you're watching this over on Patreon, I'll leave that in the comments along with all the other info like where I pitched the tent. There's no time to warm up with this one, straight into a slog up. I've not done anything really challenging for a month or so now, so this will be a good way to blow out the cobwebs. Whoa, like a seesaw. This is literally breathtaking. Well, I can't breathe anyway. Blowing out my arse. That skyline's pretty breathtaking as well though, isn't it? Look at the lights catching the mountains over there. The path's pretty easy going, well defined. It's just a bit steep. It's one of them you've just got to take your time with. Keep stopping for a breather. So this is going to be quite a long video today, so I will break it down into chapters. That way if you've only got 20 minutes or so to spare, you can always come back and watch chapter 2, 3 and 4. There's not many people that can sit through a full hour of an old man rambling, is there? If that signpost at the bottom was right, 300 metres to go. Still not reached the top. Look at that peeking out the top. Quite a distinctive cairn, that, isn't it? I could actually camp here. Prepare yourself for a little bit of magic now. Whoa! Wow! That incredible. That is up there with the best of them, isn't it? There's not a breath of wind. It's been blowing all the way up here. Still got a long way to go. I could quite happily stay here, but I've got to head over there somewhere. I think that one's Robinson. That one might be Hinescarth. It's definitely over that way somewhere. I will check the map just to make sure. Yeah, Hinescarth, that one. Robinson behind it. So it's just gone 25 past 4. Sunset is due around 25 past 6. So better crack on. Can't make my mind up which way to look. It looks like I've still got plenty of climbing to do. It's quite a drop off and then back up again. Oh well, such is life. This is quite the ridge, isn't it? You've already seen that glacial valley. Now we've got Buttermere, Fleetwood Pike there in the middle, haystacks behind it. Look at his little face. Right, better watch where I'm going for a bit. Back up again. One last down and up. Right, that is the last push of the day. Running out of light though. I'm hoping we can be up there in half an hour. I'm already thinking ahead though. I'm planning my route out for tomorrow. I don't want to go up and down, thinking I can drop down to the side of Buttermere near Gates Garth, and then I'll just walk up alongside Honister Pass. It's one long hill, but it's much easier than going up and down all this scree. Looking back, looks even worse. Up, down, up again, down, then up again. I think tomorrow we'll just drop down and take that road. It's quite steady, doesn't it? I'm hoping that that's it for the climb. That was hard work. Tough going. It's a false summit, as always. But it's not as steep, so I'll take that. Wow, look at that. That's fabulous, isn't it? So you got a bit of Buttermere, Crumwick water. I think that's Lowes water. Got Ranadale knots. Better find a pitch before that sun goes down. This is as good a place as any. So it's just off the summit a little bit. Over there it's a little bit windier. And just this little dip here, it's given me a little bit of protection. Wind's coming towards me. I'm hoping that the ground takes a peg. It's quite, what's the word, rocky and slaty. Is slaty a word? Timed it to perfection. Although it would have been nice just to have a little bit of more light for longer. Can't complain. What an evening. Look at that sunset. The lighting is amazing. The last two then we'll just dress it up a little bit. Yeah, that's about it. Although, not a huge fan of that. I'd rather have that coming out at more of a shallow angle. To try to like kill two birds with one stone. So I'm going to put an extra guy line up there, just gives it a bit more support at the top end. That'll do. My hat is dripping with sweat. Just in time. I think I've earned a couple of minutes just to chill out and soak in the view. And what a view it is. It's not bad, is it? Temperature's dropping already. Feels 10 degrees colder. I think Robinson, 730 odd metres, 737, something like that. But with all those ups and downs I've had to do, feels like I've done it 3 times. I've not camped up here before. I camped a few of the others, dotted around. Fleetwith, Haystacks, Red Pike, Ranadale Knots, Snockrig Fell. I wanted to do something with a bit of a challenge. So I could have parked closer and not had quite as much of a walk in, but I've not done anything other than Kinder Scout, which is pretty straightforward in quite a while. In fact, I've not been to the lakes for quite a while. That 3 to 3.5 hour drive, seeing Zabor Lake, it's been so worth it today. Gorgeous. There's a bit of a story to this tent, which I'll tell you a bit later on, but let's just say I've been looking all over for this particular model of Vango Banshee 200 with the red poles. 2012, so it's 12 years old. I have pitched it once before just to make sure that everything's there and nothing's damaged or anything, but proof will be in the pudding whether it keeps me protected from all the elements tonight. Look at that sky. Wow. Suppose I better get out of this wet gear. It's not wet because it's been raining. It's wet because I'm dripping. Just noticed I've got my string vest back to front as well. One of them days. So peaceful. You could hear a tick fart. I've still not had anything to eat. A bag of crisps and 2 coffees on the way up. I think I was ready for this. I was going a little bit stir crazy at home. I've been getting out of the house, still filming videos and going for walks and hikes. I've not had this. And that's my doing. Joe's been not pestering me to get out, but encouraging me. I've actually got a pass for 2 nights, but I'm only going to do the one here. I've got to be back reasonably early on Wednesday. Reggie and Mabel are in at the vets. I might do Peak District tomorrow, see how I feel. I might not be able to walk yet. So tomorrow, I think there's a short, steep route down there. Takes me down towards the lake. According to the map, it's quite a steep drop down there though. So it might be a bit sketchy going down there. Right, look at that already. There's like moisture on the tent. Looks like frost, but it's not frost. Better get that organised and get something to eat. Tripod and mitten, just to give me a little bit more room. It's nice and cosy in here though. Called at the Reg Ed Centre in Penrith. It's one of them fancy ones. Wish it was nice and warm with a soft yolk though. It's got a bit of sweetness to it. It's the Ploughman Scotch egg. Time we on. Can't be bothered with steaks. Only 7:30, so plenty of time left yet. Although I don't see where there's enough room to cook in this. We'll see. So apparently we might be able to see the Northern Lights tonight. I reckon I'll be sleeping again. That's where my head's been. So I said earlier on that there's a bit of a story when it comes to this tent. So before I was even into wild camping, I was doing the bushcraft kind of thing. And I was looking for a tent just to be pitching up in the woods really. And everybody at the time said the Vango Banshee 200 is the tent to get. It is bomb-proof is the word they used. And at the time I think it was around 89, 99 quid. And one came up on eBay or something like that and I bought it for around 40 quid. But it was the Banshee 300. And when I got it, I hadn't really done my research. It was one of the older models and it had an inner pitch first, which you don't see many of those. The one that I really wanted was the 2012 model, which is the red pole. So that was the time that I was looking. We're talking 12 years ago now. Falling over the guy lines. So I never bought the Vango Banshee 200. And I've been thinking a lot lately about what is the best tent ever. You know, what would be the GOAT, as they call it. The greatest of all time. And I think it's got to be the Vango Banshee. And hear me out. I know that there's lots of better tents than this particular one. I will go into the reasons why it's the goat, in my opinion anyway. But I'm starting to freeze, so I'm going to go back inside. To be honest with you, I am not mega hungry. But I bought steak, so I suppose I better eat it. Although I've not found the flattest spot here. That's not too bad there. So I brought my little Soto stove with me today. Stormbreaker, is it? Can't remember. I'm hoping I brought all the bits for it. Oh, that's a relief. Yeah, it's quite sturdy. Sturdy enough, I hope, anyway. Little frying pan. Garlic butter. This is not the ideal position to be cooking in, really. But I'm not getting out of this quilt. And now we wait. Apparently you shouldn't mess about with steak, you should just put it in, give it a few minutes one side and then a few minutes the other. Don't touch it. I bought this tent really for nostalgia reasons. I actually think it looks better than the new Pro version. I'm not having anything with this. I'm just eating steak. I'm using the pan as a plate, plastic cutlery, because I don't want to scratch it. Mop some of this charred butter up. You're going to have to trust me, that steak was lovely. That camera cut out halfway through my recording, so I'm not happy. I think, well, what I was saying, I was talking about going back to this being the greatest of all time tents. And what I was saying was that the Vango Banshee was the tent that brought camping and adventure to a generation of people. You go back 10 to 15 years ago and this was the go-to tent for all of your kids doing the Duke of Edinburgh Award scheme, anyone just starting out in wild camping or bushcraft, anyone that wanted to do the Cumbria Way, all those kind of things. People were buying the Vango Banshee. It was a sort of do-it-all tent for a really good price, good performance for the money, and it was affordable. It was a tent for everybody. And Vango literally sold thousands of these, which they still sell today, although I think it's exclusive now to go outdoors. The Vango Banshee Pro. I actually prefer this model. I just think it's got some sort of cult status look about it. In fact, I've bid on 2 other tents before I bought this one. This will have been either 89 or 99 pounds new. I paid 100 quid for this. I know it sounds a lot of money for a 12-year-old second-hand tent, which only cost that price. But I think it's becoming a bit of a vintage classic. So the last one that I bid on went for 125 quid. And I just couldn't justify bidding that money. I think I put a bid in of 80 or something like that and got outbid for it. But this particular model doesn't come up very often. It's got the red poles in. So this is the one that I first saw and the one that made my eyes lit up and, the jackpot signs. The first tent that I really, really wanted. And I didn't end up with it. So I should have bought this tent. This is the tent I should have bought 12 years ago. But I bought the Banshee 300, an older model that was in a pitch first. Yeah, so you go back 10 years, this was the tent that you saw on the fells or up on the mountains. If you went onto a campsite and the Duke of Edinburgh events were going off, you would see dozens of this tent. It gave freedom and adventure to so many people. And you look at tents now. So let's say, people say now that the Hilleberg Solo is the goat of backpacking tents. And when it comes to strength, and robustness, durability, quality of workmanship, the way it's built, and arguably it's the best tent out there, but it's not available to the masses. It's not a tent for everybody. This is a tent for every man, woman and child, and it's one of those things that is just so British. It is made for the British climate. It is traditional sort of design. Vango have been making tents for decades now. The Force 10 ones have been up on Everest, I believe. So it's just, they know what they're doing when it comes to manufacturing tents. But a lot of the time now we tend to overlook brands like Vango. We head straight away, what is the best tent? And someone will tell you it's the Hilleberg, or they'll say it's the QU Storm Star, or you need to get a Durston X-Mid and buy something from America or Canada. But what is wrong with the British Vango? Absolutely nothing. Okay, I'm a little bit cramped in this one, but I'm loving it. Absolutely loving it. This is bringing a glow to my face, that I had when I first went wild camping in my Vango Nevis. The conditions are better tonight as well, and the views are better tonight. It's giving me goosebumps. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I'm not saying my opinion is the be all and end all, but I think I've given a pretty good case for this being the greatest tent of all time. That's my British opinion anyway. If you're a native American Indian, you'll probably come up with a different answer for the greatest tent of all time. Cheers. Here's to you, Mrs. Robinson. Thanks for having me tonight. In the goat of all tents. Subjective, of course. It's Baltic out here. It's really dark as well. You might be able to see the northern lights tonight. It's quite a clear sky. Even the phone's picking up stars, look. I was nice and warm in there. I've had to come out for a call of nature. Wind's picking up a little bit. It's doing that howling noise. Can you hear it? I love that sound. Time for my secret weapon. Side sleeper. Got to have something between my knees. This is perfect. So unless my tent gets blown off the hill, or we wake up to a stunning Northern Lights display, I shall see you in the morning. There's very little wind hitting the tent. I think we're pitched just about perfect, just down underneath those rocks. It's flying over the top of us. I love that sound though. Anyway, I'm gonna shut my eyes. That's not a pretty sight, is it? I don't think there was a sunrise. I'm hoping not, because I've missed it. Did not get a lot of sleep. The wind hasn't been too bad. Got the first bit of rain about 4 o'clock. I got a bit of cramp. Probably a bit dehydrated and used a few muscles I've not used in a while. Right, the route down that I've thought about is past Messner Beck. There's over 2,000 feet of descent in just over a mile. I had a quick look on Google last night, and apparently it's a bit hands-on in places and wet. Oh, which is all I need when it's raining. But I don't want to go up and down all the hills. Decisions. Doesn't seem like any water's got in. So this old girl is still waterproof. I'll pull myself together and think about having a look outside. I'm not even going to bother putting the kettle on this morning. There's a cafe down at Honest the Slate Mine where I can get a cappuccino. Yeah, that is my goal. I've got to get off this pretty steep descent down and then up the long and winding road, and obviously get my bag packed whilst in this little tent. There's a tiny little bit of condensation in the foot box, but my jacket's still wet and that's down at the side of it. Can't complain. Squash that right down. It's a bit wet out there. Got to be prepared. I've only really got to drop the tent now. This is still a little bit damp, but I'm going to be warm. Right, let's make a move. Not much of a view, but it stopped raining for a minute, which I'll take. Where did all those stunning views go? Clagfest. The goat did a fantastic job, didn't it, last night? Come on then, let me know in the comments what you think the greatest tent of all time is. And give your reasons, not just because you paid a lot of money for it or it's got a specific badge on it. Try and get a bit deeper than that. Maybe your tent saved your life. Right, we need to drop this tent and then head down there somewhere. I don't know what to expect. I'm not going over that and that. I do like it when you can drop a tent down whilst leaving all the guy lines on. Removes that windy element. Much easier to control when it's low down. Started raining again. Winner. Tent bag still strapped to my backpack, although everything's really slippy. Right, we're all packed up. Makes a change to have a really flat spot. Obviously, leave no trace. Visibility is pretty naff. When I get to the top, if the path down looks ropey, I could always go back the way I came. I've got no phone signal here. If I just press this little button, that'll just ping a message to Jo, just telling her where I am, and then you can see that I'm on the move. That's if the message can get to the satellites through all that. And the map says the path is the other side of that fence. Looks like there's a little bit of a trail down here though. Doesn't look incredibly well trodden, but a path nonetheless. There's a stile. Whoa, that is slippy. Thought I'd lost you, boy. So there's actually two paths. You do need to keep checking the map, especially when visibility is really low. You've got no even general direction of where you're going other than like a compass bearing. We're off the main path, so checking again. I wish I'd stayed on the other side. That path looks better. So that's the noise it makes when the message has been delivered to Jo. All good. It's opening up a little bit now as we're getting lower. Look at that. So far it's been pretty steep, but I'm not seeing any of that hands-on stuff that it said in that blog post I read. They were right about the views though. Seeing a little bit more of Buttermere from this way. Maybe it gets a bit trickier lower down. You've still got to watch every step though, because these rocks are quite slippy. It's a bit boggy in this section. Started raining again, so that's not going to help. It's looking a lot prettier now we're out of all that clag though. Starting to get a bit of a twitchy bottom now. Looks a bit steep down there. Although I can't see beyond that lump, so I don't know what's coming yet, but I know that it is quite a sharp descent. If it's anything like that, I'm turning back. And I'm really glad I stayed this side of the fence now. That path the other side Looks a bit ropey, doesn't it? Oh, you can see it going down there. Doesn't look too bad. Fingers crossed. Although I might have spoken a bit too soon. Pole in one hand, fence in the other. Put the camera away, I think. I shouldn't be filming this, but I'm doing this bit on my arse. Backpack's not helping. And breathe. I'm not going to lie, I didn't enjoy that at all. That rock is really slippy, being wet through. It's really sharp as well. I'm hoping that that is it. My legs are shaking. I know that's nothing to a lot of people, but that sort of thing really, really scares me. That's my only fear when I come to places like this, that I come across a path where I get stuck. It did say there was a little bit of hands-on, and my legs are this leg's like jelly. Took me time, went down on my bum. Hopefully plain sailing from here. Have a minute, get that heart rate back down to something like, I won't be taking this route again, that's for sure. I can walk this bit, but it's still really steep. It's not letting up at all. Sometimes these little rocks don't help. They just move and you slip. The road's almost touching distance, so hopefully the tough bit is out of the way. Come on, shift out of the way. And don't leave any ticks on them bits of heather. It's touching distance. I'll be glad to see the back of this. I'll definitely think twice before moaning about the ups and downs again. I need a minute and to take a layer off. Oh, not ready for that. I don't think I've ever been so happy to see a road. Probably still a couple of miles up to the car. That trek down took me a lot longer than I thought it would. Nearly 2 hours. They don't make these for fat people, do they? Yeah, you couldn't take your eye off any footstep. Now, voluntarily on my backside twice and slipped twice as well. At least now I can admire the view a little bit without worrying too much about where I put my feet. I didn't get much time without the jacket. Very atmospheric this morning. I've just had a check on the map. 2.5 miles up to the slate mine. Bit of a slog to go yet. I could take a detour over Fleetwood Pike. I think I'll take the pass today. The road is closed at the slate mine, so this should be pretty quiet. I still reckon there's about half a mile to go there. Quite a special road though, isn't it? It's going to be afternoon by the time I get to the car. I hope I haven't got a parking fine. Help! This bit's a killer. I'll check the car's alright, and then I've got one last treat in store. Got all the windows, all the tyres. No big yellow patch stuck to the window. I'm going to get a ticket for today anyway. It's much easier to fight the battle after the fact, isn't it? These roads are fantastic. I wouldn't want to tow a caravan up it, like. What was I saying about caravans? I am shattered. I even ordered 2 cappuccinos. Dehydrated, and it might wake me up a little bit. So I've got nothing left in the tank. That hike took it out of me. And when I need to refill the tank, this is where I stop. Cafe 66. The full English here is brilliant. Everything is from locally sourced ingredients. Really enjoyed that. My little Robinson adventure sorted me out up here. That full English has sorted me out down here. Although I struggled with that one. It was tough coming down and I was tired, so I'm definitely out of shape, out of practice. I've not had anywhere near enough to eat or fluids whilst on my trip. I know I've just had a belly full of bacon and egg, but I've just been for a pee and it's like maple syrup, so you know you've not taken enough fluids in. My muscles are aching and I'm tired, but in a good way. I'm just a bit out of practice, so let's hope the next one up in the Lake District isn't too far away. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and if you have and you're not already subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything, but it really does help the channel out. So and you'll be notified if you press all the little bells when the next video comes out. I'll leave you with an image of the goat of all tents up on Robinson Crusoe.